Today is Monday, April 27th, 2026. It is 5:15 p.m. The council will now meet in executive session to review the performance of a public employee as allowed by RCW 42.30.110, parenthesis 1G. The council will be in executive session until 5:45 p.m., and the council is not expected to take further action following the executive session. Thank you. The council is extending the executive session for a period of 10 minutes until 5:55 p.m. All right. I will adjourn executive session at 5:56. Excellent. Thank you. All right. It is Monday, April 27th, 2026. I will now call the council meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, if you could take roll call, please.
Councillor Kelly Berger,
Here.
Councillor Dan Butler,
Here.
Councillor Pete Chimslin, Mayor Rachel Anderson,
Present.
Councillor Brandon Janice,
Present.
Councillor Harmony Rudder,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Nicole Hartman.
Here.
Excellent. Moving on to the approval of the final agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there anybody unopposed? Or sorry, opposed. Sorry, it's been a long day. All right, seeing no opposition, we will move on with our next agenda item, which is ceremonial. And the first one is Migratory Bird Day. I'll try to read slow. All right. Whereas bird migration is the seasonal movement of birds flying between breeding grounds and wintering grounds that occur each spring and fall. And whereas over 35 million birds will fly over Clallam County during spring migration. And whereas bird migration is a journey rife with risks, and whereas 80% of North American songbirds and other species migrate at night, relying on natural clues like the moon and stars to navigate, and whereas light pollution in the form of bright lights and sky glow can disorient migrating birds, leading to collisions with buildings and windows or causing them to circle in light beams until they become exhausted. And whereas nighttime lights that point upward or outward across the landscape create excessive illumination and contribute to sky glow, and whereas migrating birds are particularly at risk on nights with low cloud ceilings when artificial light reflected off clouds becomes disorienting, and whereas 77% of bird collisions occur at windows no higher than 3 stories, 44% collide with residential windows, and whereas lights off are critical between midnight and sunrise during the peak of spring and fall bird migration, which is March 1st to June 15th and August 15th to November 30th. And whereas 25 chapters of Washington Audubon, led by Olympic Peninsula Audubon Society, voted for Lights Out Washington for Washington State. Now, therefore, I, Rachel Anderson, Mayor of the City of Sequim, and on behalf of the Sequim City Council, do hereby proclaim May 9th, 2026 as World Migratory Bird Day and call upon residents and businesses to use warm-colored light sources, aim illumination where needed, reduce or turn off interior lights at night, use timers or motion sensor lighting, and ensure exterior lights are pointed downward and properly shielded from reaching the sky. Together, we can help birds navigate migration safely. Signed on this 27th day of April, 2026. And we do have someone here to accept the proclamation. Excellent. One.
That's always helpful. I'm along with my fellow board member Joyce Volmet with Olympic Peninsula Audubon Society. I think that the counselors were treated to this rack card, and you're nodding. I'm glad that looks familiar. The card references birdcast.org, which is an easy URL to remember, birdcast.org. I opened mine up, and anybody want to guess how many hundreds of thousands of birds crossed Clallam County last night from dusk to dawn? If you guess 319,600, you would be correct. So we're very appreciative that this council continues to hear this message, that it's not just about the birds. It's about what birds tell us about the health of our planet, the health of our local environment, and therefore our own health. And so we couldn't thank you enough for your continued support of these initiatives. Thank you.
Any comments from council?
Thank you for sharing that website link.
I think just a quick comment slash educational resource. I believe the Dungeness River Nature Center has, what do they call it? Like Bird Week or something like that. So that people can gather and watch birds in the park. And while I was there at the Nature Center, they did have, I believe they had that website up. Where'd you go? There you go. I believe they had that website up. And it was a really cool kind of heat map of birds crossing North America. And so it was just a really cool way to see, because we don't really think about it, right? I don't really think about it. So being able to see it over the course of, the last 24 hours, it was just a really amazing resource to see. So thank you. All right, any other comments before we move on to the next proclamation? All right. The next proclamation is Building Safety Month 2026. Whereas our city is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depend on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disaster strikes. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, buildings safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings, and whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, ICC, a nonprofit organization that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes and standards to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes and standards include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by ICC to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas Built to Last, the theme for Building Safety Month 2026, encourages us all to get involved and raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local, state, tribal, territorial, and federal building safety and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, I, Rachel Anderson, Mayor of the City of Sequim, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Building Safety Month and encourage our residents to join us as we recognize the important role of building safety and fire prevention professionals in protecting lives and property, strengthening community resilience, and helping ensure the safety of our homes, workplaces, and public spaces. Signed on this 27th day of April, 2026. And do we have someone here to accept the proclamation?
Yes, you have me, your DCD Director, Carla Boughton. And I just wanted to say thank you to the Mayor and the City Council for recognizing May 2026 as Building Safety Month and highlighting the essential work that our building safety and fire prevention professionals conduct for our community. So this is a DCD sponsored proclamation. And again, it's just acknowledging that building safety is fundamental to protecting lives, property, and community resilience. So thank you.
Comments from council? Just a quick one that I'm very happy to be in safe buildings. So I am very appreciative of our subject matter expert engineers and, hazard prevention professionals. So thank you, Carla. All righty. Before I move on, just making sure, no comments from council before I move on. Okay. All right. Moving on to the public comment section of our meeting agenda. This is a limited public forum. Individuals providing public comment must not disrupt or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of the meeting. This is not a forum for hate speech. The City of Sequim supports the public's First Amendment right to free speech, but it does not support hate speech. Speakers are expected to be courteous and refrain from making hateful comments, sounds, or remarks. Any offensive words and conduct shared by the public do not reflect the city's values. The City of Sequim stands firm in its commitment to being an inclusive community and rejects discrimination of any kind. Thank you.
For individuals attending in person, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. For persons registered and approved to provide comments remotely, press the raise your hand icon, or if you're on the phone, press *5 to raise your hand and wait for the automated prompts. Individuals wishing to speak who have not registered before the meeting will not be considered. In-person public comments will be alternated with confirmed registered remote public comments. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak, and there will be a timer visible on the screen. A total of 30 minutes or 10 speakers will be permitted for public comments. When your name is called, please state your name if you are representing an organization and your city of residence. First speaker is Rick Marshall.
Hello, my name is Rick Marshall. I've lived here 36 years and live very close to Sequim. This is about the letter of support that you're considering for the tribe taking over the land that we know as the Dungeness Spit. The Dungeness Spit is an international destination. It must not become an oyster farm for the Sklallam tribe or a resource for them to do any more development than they've already done in this county. I do appreciate the positive things the tribe has manifested with their direct access to our tax dollars. They have reconstructed the damaged bridge over the Dungeness. That was great. We all appreciated that. I don't appreciate that they chose to build a casino near Sequim, which fosters gambling, alcoholism, and now cannabis substance abuse. Then they created a MAC clinic a few years later that many of us tried to and collected thousands and thousands of dollars, but ran out of money to defeat, to deal with the substance abuse, the gambling abuse, because it's all connected, that the tribe fostered when they started doing their thing here about 30 years ago. There are tribes in America that have become self-contained. They don't operate casinos and hotels and golf courses in their states, and they don't use taxpayer money. They take care of their own selves on their reservations. Recently, my wife, Rose, on change.org manifested 1,540 signatures around the country and the world of people who do not want our precious refuge given to this tribe. Please consider withdrawing your letter of support for this federal land giveaway. The tribe should only be allowed to continue, like they've done very effectively, sharing management of our land. We won the war. We did. And we're giving it all back. And I don't like that. Thank you.
John Worthington, you may unmute and address the council. John Worthington, are you available?
John Worthington Sequim. I also oppose the letter. The tribe's involvement with the ICLEI and their work over at the NODC has created an international government that I spied when I attempted to run for the Sequim City Council and dropped out because I thought it was such an alarming thing. So if you're building and serving an international government, how do you build and serve an American one? How do you maintain your domestically dependent status? So if we give them control, you're giving control basically to an international government. So they have a huge conflict of interest over at the NODC and with their involvement with the ICLEI. I would like to see co-management continue because right now we have 21 different policy positions, and we stopped going through the APA. Hello? We stopped going through the APA, and they won't give us a final agency action. So we can dispute these policies. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I was trying to introduce Jimmy Come Lately science, which would create a deeper salmon habitat for them. Instead, they blocked it at every turn, and they've gone to lower levels. All these migratory birds, they're going to feast on rain shadow lower levels because they didn't institute the Jimmy Come Lately science with deeper meandering channels to give the juvenile and the smolt a fighting chance. They just didn't. And you look out in the audience and you see who's there, and Craig Smith, and you can't just watch these people over and over again coming to these meetings and not realize that it's just a property buyback scam. And they're all working for an international government, and we've lost thousands and thousands of salmon because we didn't want to equally apply the Jimmy Come Lately science. Bell Creek is criminally low. We have the opportunity to extend the Dungeness over to Bell Creek, but again, they were misleading and saying, well, we can't do that. Bruce Emery said we can't do that. But you look on any irrigation map, and the Dungeness and the Bell Creek and Johnson Creek are already connected. But for some reason, they don't want to make a legitimate flood relief valve out of that because they want flooding. They want to do their property buyback program, and that's not a steward. When you're just taking somebody's property or not operating in the APA, that's not a steward. Thank you.
Teresa Miller.
Good evening, Teresa Miller, Sequim, Washington. Mayor Anderson and City Council and everyone else, thank you for being here tonight. I am in opposition. I'd like to talk on general business, item 9A. I too am in opposition for the letter of support for the land acquisition for Jamestown. For several reasons, I have been attending a lot of city meetings, council meetings. I went to the port meeting today that was joint between a couple of different entities or agencies, and I tell you, it's just so enlightening. You know, I'm really learning a lot how everything works. And what I've seen over the last year with, well, I just want to say, first of all, I too do appreciate a lot of what Jamestown has done for our community. Okay, so I just want that to be said. But I do also want to say that the tribes, they say that they create jobs. I know how to create jobs as well. And I don't need somebody else to create a job for me, is what I'm saying. we can go out without the tribe and create our own jobs like we have been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years. I believe I'm not the only one that does believe that. So if we took the middleman out of all the other things that the tribe wants to basically take the government out of their way because they're in their way, and I can understand that, if we can take things out of the way just as the same way we do for the tribe that we do for all the people, the citizens, all of us, every single one of us, it would just make things a lot better. Just better. Create more jobs for everybody, not just some. And I have been seeing, I do believe that they've just acquired some more land on the port, 6.3 acres. And I just found out about that. That's prime acreage. And if I'm also not mistaken, that will not be in the tax pool. So every time land gets transferred into the tribe, it is taken out of the tax pool. I, as a homeowner, get my taxes raised. I live in a 1973 Rambler home, which is assessed at almost $500,000, you guys. Can somebody tell me what is going on? Can we just pretend that we want to make a difference? I'm here. I have 6 grandkids. They all live here. I'm invested in this community. I moved here in 2009 from Las Vegas, Nevada. Born in Washington State, wanting a better life for my family. I was told this was the place to come. Is it? Do you want me to stay here and raise my grandchildren? The school district, let's talk about the school district. I don't know. Oh, I have no more time. Thank you for your time. Next time.
Ron Richards, you may unmute and turn on your camera to address the council. Ron Richards? Can you unmute yourself, Ron?
Would it be helpful to have a friendly reminder of how to unmute yourself if you're on phone? I'm not sure if he's on phone or online. I guess if it says his name, I guess he's online, right?
Yeah, we have it on our side.
Or where the unmute button is. Oh,
it
there.
out. I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Barely. Are you able to turn up a little bit?
I'll try to speak louder. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Commissioner Randy Johnson heard me say that there were 12 issues that I was really concerned with about this Jamestown tribe transfer, and that most of those were either non-information or misinformation that the tribe has made. I know in the last meeting, some of you thought that the tribe's presentation at the commissioners cleared up a lot of misinformation by the opponents. To the contrary, the tribe's presentation at the commissioner meeting contained misinformation and did not cover some very important things. And so I sent Randy wanted to call my bluff, and he wanted me to write him a letter. So I did that today, finished it up late today, and copied you. I hope you have a chance to read it before you consider supporting this, because it is very detrimental to your interests. And I'm not being an alarmist here. I'm not exaggerating. I've attached documents to my letter that show what I am saying in the tribe's own words. This transfer is part of a larger plan of the tribe to take jurisdiction over all of Clallam County east of Ennis Creek. It's just that simple, including all of the city of Sequim. Also, that's one of my reasons in here. The other big one is that the tribe is on record of thinking that it does not, when it has jurisdiction, that its laws apply and none of our laws apply, and that you should not have any say, local governments should have any say in the tribe's acquisitions, and that any conditions they promise should not be perpetual, and that they should be free to back out of them. So I really urge you to look at this letter, which is all backed up by the tribe's own admissions, especially some letters they wrote to the BIA in 2018, and a very damaging admission that the tribal representatives made in the commissioners meeting on, I think it was April 13th. So anyway, I would urge you to have your attorneys check this over. You have plenty of time to consider this. The act isn't even supposed to be submitted until next year. So I really urge you to take your time and look at these really serious issues and these omissions. Thank you.
Rose Marshall.
Rose Marshall, Agnew area, real close to Sequim. My kids all went to school here. So I'm here again. I do not approve of a letter of support for the transfer of the land. And one thing that I think is notable is I went to the Clallam Commissioner meeting where the tribe, 3 of the tribal people spoke to the commissioners. And at the very end of that meeting, Randy Johnson said, what's going to happen if we give you our 2 refuge? There's 2, remember, Protection Island and the National Wildlife Refuge. And the tribal member said, we don't know. So they couldn't even commit right then and there that they were going to keep it all natural. And anyway, so that's important for you to know. They actually said that out loud at a meeting. And the other thing is I did some research on that oyster farming, which they intend to do. And it's not good for the environment. So they're not all environmentally sound people and protect the land and all. And it's going well the way it is. So just leave it the way it is. They don't need any more land, so we don't need to support. And by the way, there are 1,584 signatures on the petition now, and some about 8 are out of the country. And anyway, so it's going fine the way it is. The tribe doesn't need this land. And a lot of times people say, but they've lived here forever. No, they haven't. They came here. You guys know the real history? I got a book 20 years from the Sequim Museum of Arts. They didn't live here forever. They came here seasonally and hunted and fished, and they went to Canada and Sydney and other places. They didn't live here forever. Like, all this land is theirs. So that's a misnomer that people need to be educated about. And so I would encourage you to read the real history. And they also did a huge massacre of the Chimicum people. And so anyway, that's in the past. You can let go of the past, but it's going well now. There's no need to change it. This city, the people here do not want you to give a letter of support. You should consider that. And you are supposed to be representing us. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
All right. Thank you to everyone who spoke. Moving on in the agenda, we have no public hearing, so we will move right on to consent agenda. City Clerk, could you please let us know what's on consent?
We have claim vouchers totaling $944,030.93. City Council meeting minutes from April 13th, 2026. Sequim Arts Commission appointment of Jessica Taylor Edwards resolution. Sequim Prairie Garden Club ADA compliant pathway agreement.
To approve the consent agenda as presented.
I will second that.
Excellent. There's been a motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? Seeing none, we will move forward with unanimous consent. Thank you so much. Moving on to general business. 9A, the Jamestown S'Klallam Tribe Land Transfer Act Letter of Support. I'll just quick recap. Jamestown S'Klallam leadership requested that we have a letter of support. It's been on the meeting agenda a couple times. This is the third time it's been brought to us. We've had public comment. There's also been an educational presentation, informational meeting provided to the S'Klallam County Commissioners that can be rewatched. So at the last meeting, I said I would bring it back on general. So that was a quick recap of where we are. Any discussion, comments, questions? I'll leave it at that.
I'd like to start by saying that we've received a lot of public comment about this, both from folks who are opposed to this issue and folks who are in support of the issue. I think that there's a general theme arising from all of the public comment, whether it's for or against the Land Transfer Act, and that's that the people of Sequim care very, very, very deeply about the Dungeness National Wildlife Refuge. It's a very important landmark, a very important place for recreation to so many people. And there's a lot of big feelings, a lot of, that's what I say to my kids, sorry. A lot of strong emotions about how important that space is. Based on what I've been able to gather from the information, it sounds to me like the tribe is going to be continuing with the procedures and protocols that they have been following for the last couple years, as it's been jointly managed under the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the tribe. Moving forward, this will allow the tribe to, if it goes through, whether we issue a letter of support or not, but if this Land Transfer Act is completed, this will allow the tribe to more efficiently and quickly move through management of the space and making sure that they can respond in real time to any information that they see about how to better manage the land. They have the resources and the volunteers to keep up with maintenance. I have been living here in Sequim for 8 years, and I have seen a lot of very positive things that the Jamestown S'Klallam has done for this community, whether it was providing vaccines for the entire community, to addressing very important health needs of our community, where we were number 2 in the state for opioid overdose, and making a healthcare facility available to those who are struggling with that is a very commendable action. I'm thinking that this has arisen due to the fact that it's potential for the this land needing to have better ability for the people managing the land, which is the Jamestown S'Klallam at this time, to have better access to do so. their federal support for various projects has been decreasing. And this to me, this process seems to me that they're trying to step forward and say, we'd like to be better able to respond and to managing this space. And I would like to continue knowing that the Dungeness National Wildlife Refuge will have serviceable trails and facilities that are taken care of in a timely fashion by an entity that has the resources to do so. That's what I have to share. That's kind of where I'm landing on the issue at this time. And I guess someone had to speak first, and so there I go.
I think we watched the same presentations, and part of what I also noticed was that right now it seems to be a little in the process of getting the notice of application, notice of decision, that whole process, it seems to be a little chaotic and a lack of consistency. And what I appreciate is I think this is currently going to be a better preservation of what we already appreciate without potentially having the risk of it becoming something that we don't want, perhaps sold off. This keeps it in the management that they've already shown for 2 years that is being done well. The responsiveness, building up the volunteer base, the number of hours of volunteer work that's been put into it. And if I'm correct, the oyster farm is a separate issue. That's state lands and is not part of this transfer. And then as I learned at the county commissioners meeting, this is just the most preliminary of preliminary steps. There's a long way to go. And in supporting this, it keeps it going forward. So it has to go through all the appropriate steps, which allows for much public comment and further public participation in this process. And I hope everybody will be paying attention to it. This is just one very minor step. We're not the decision makers. This is just a minor step in moving it along the process is how I feel.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I watched the presentation they did, and my main concern when I originally heard about this was public access and the conservation, and their presentation, I think, addressed my concerns. Yeah.
Okay, the old timer's going to speak. So I've lived here all my life. I watched as U.S. Fish and Wildlife took over the spit and the protection island, and steadily they decreased in how much they were putting any effort into those two areas. And I've watched the tribe come in and make very positive things and everything. They've never not allowed access to anything that they have. I think this is going to be a very positive change. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Just so my silence is not misinterpreted, I have nothing to add to what my fellow council members have spoken.
Right, same. Any questions I had were answered. Full stop. All right. Well, if there are no other comments, is anybody ready to make a motion?
I'd move that we submit the letter of support as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we do a roll call vote for that, please?
Councilor Berger,
Yes.
Councilor Butler,
Yes.
Councilor Chimslin,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Aye.
Councilor Janice,
Yes.
Councilor Rutter,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hartman.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. All right. That was the only item on general business. We have nothing for information only. So we are moving right along to our reports item on the agenda, youth liaisons. What do you have to report?
Good evening, City Council and audience. First thing I have to report is, for purposes of the record, this is a Lincoln Forest student liaison speaking. First thing I have is that last week I, along with 13 other students in our FBLA club, attended the state conference over in Spokane from Tuesday to Friday. We had Araya Klinger place 8th in her event, and a group of Caitlin Carpenter and Trenton Downs place 5th in their event. Unfortunately, no national qualifiers. We would have needed a positioning of 4th or higher for that. It was still a lot of fun, though. A lot of people got to network with other students from other schools and attend cool workshops. Secondly, our Operetta Club is hosting a Wizard of Oz play starting next week. There will be showtimes on the 1st, 2nd, 8th, and 9th, all at 7 p.m., and on the 3rd and 10th at 2 p.m. My third thing is that the school board is looking for their next student liaison. They are looking for a sophomore becoming junior to fill in the position for 2 years, similar to this position. The search began today with applications opening, and there will be an interview process sometime next month. And my last thing is, it is not a school-hosted event, but there's probably a couple of questions regarding around this. There is the Senior Assassin game going on right now, being hosted for seniors at Sequim High School. Student ran, of course. And to those who don't know, it is a game where you try and eliminate your target with water guns and be the last person standing. It was a $10 buy-in. $740, I believe, is the final pot. And the reason you might see some silly looking seniors with floaties on them is because, or goggles over the eyes, is because it gets them immunity from being eliminated. So if you see a couple of teenagers around with some swim gear, you know why. That concludes my report.
Yeah, that's lots of fun. For purposes of the record, this is Layla Sundin, Youth Liaison speaking. On a less fun note than a school-wide game of water gun tag, AP testing, yes, senior-wide water gun tag. AP testing starts next week. That's the first 2 weeks of May. Yeah, so nothing to say there. Decision Day Assembly is happening this Thursday. Decision Day nationally is May 1st for all seniors who have committed to secondary education, trade school, university, anything like that. And so we are celebrating and acknowledging seniors who have made that commitment. Senior Ball is happening very soon as well. This is Wednesday. This Wednesday is the last day to buy tickets. And class elections for Sequim High School ASB begin this week and will conclude in 2 weeks. Lastly, choir went to state this weekend as well. They did exceptionally as always this year. And our tenor and bass ensemble got first. So they did very, very well. Yeah, they did amazing. So that's all I have to say. Any questions?
How do you earn the floaty or the goggles to keep you immune?
It's take a trip to Walmart. Yeah. You got to go to the store for those, but we have purges, so they won't count in like a week, all week, and then you get them again. It's lots of fun.
Isn't one of your student representatives in the play?
Yes, Lily Chumslin is, and it looks fantastic. I'm gonna go see it. I highly recommend. I love Wizard of Oz, and they're doing a great job. So yeah.
One more question: is the water gun tag? Is this the inaugural year?
Second or third year. that we've done this. The senior assassin or water gun tag has been going on for a really long time. My dad said that when he was in college, they were doing it. So we've just adopted the game. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Good luck.
Just a quick comment for AP testing. I know, I'm sorry. Eat lots of protein, get good sleep. I believe in you. All right, moving on to any other last questions for our youth liaisons? All right, moving on to city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Always nice to visit. I'll move quickly through a few things that I wanted to point out. We continue our ongoing recruitment efforts. We have 13 positions open, and they're very key to the city operations. So I won't name them all, but we are working diligently on trying to move every effort forward in that regard. Our communications and marketing team is working hard on the upcoming irrigation parade preparation. That's May 9th, so it's a Saturday coming up. And of course, Lavender Weekend is in mid-July. But Barb is also part of the council retreat team. It will be Barbara, Emily in HR, and Sue in finance that are working with the mayor and trying to pull that together for y'all. Carla's continuing to deep dive and heavy lift in her comp plan, focusing now on the zoning ordinance, working with the planning commission on that. So I appreciate that, especially without her permit coordinator here to help her. So they've been working hard in planning department. Finance, Sue continues to close out 25 with the state auditing office, and 26, I think she'll be reporting to you for Q1 next meeting. And now we've already started 27 budget. So she's got her foot in all 3 years, either closing, current, or future. So a lot of work there. We had several IT initiatives. Cyber threats continue to pound our firewall. Thank goodness we have a new one, but it is a new thing. We had several attempts and threats last week that were very legitimate that came from the county, and so I appreciate all that IT is doing to keep us safe. We may be reaching out to you all just because you've got hardware and software, so I'm working with Oleg and maybe reaching out to you about that. Also, the police department has an upcoming FBI security audit that our IT department has been spending quite a bit of time on, making sure that we pass that with flying colors. Glad to report that the RAISE grant looks like it got resolved through kind of a stall there for, I don't know, maybe half year, something like that, 6 months, 8 months or something like that. But it looks like it's back on track. And we've got, I don't know, over $1 million in that as a participant in that grant for the ODT and whatnot. And I just want to end with a shout out to Public Works. They've worked very hard last week. I think I saw several of you at the kids fishing event, at the Bandshell ADA path dedication and ribbon cutting. And then Friday we had Arbor Day tied to Earth Day and some tree planting. And so just a lot of preparation for that. I was glad to see that we had the safe building proclamation today. We also concluded our building efficiency. This is a state mandated regulation that we have to go through for a building this size. And we've completed that and submitted that ahead of schedule and are looking really, really good. And so that, cheers to Public Works and to our facilities team for all the work they put into that. Any questions I can answer for any of you? Everybody's busy.
I know the Sequim picklers been reaching out to everybody, probably you as well. And there was an article in the paper about it. And You met with them?
We did.
Correct?
Yeah. We met with them just 3 or 4 days ago, had a great meeting with Tim Williams, who's the president, and he brought another board member. Hannah, who's the park manager, and myself met with them. It was a very productive meeting, really congenial. We both left with some to-dos, and we plan on meeting and communicating going forward. I read the email they sent. They were, again, it's cordial that he copied me and didn't want me to be surprised or legal department with what he was sending to you. It mostly had to do with some communication, or I should say miscommunication. But I think all of their needs are being met, and it's, again, I feel like we're in a partnership. It's one of many 501c3s. I mean, literally over a dozen of them that we've identified. They've, as you know, they raised the money and built it and then handed it to the city. And so there's always, a feeling of ownership, but it's public property. And so we continue to work with them on trying to take care of them as much as we can, but it's not a private spot. And so just trying to prioritize it with all the other projects we have in the city. But I think we've landed on a good place. Ongoing. It'll always be ongoing. Yeah.
Good. Thanks for that question and for that report. In Public Works and your point E, ongoing projects and meetings, you mentioned the PNNL hookup. Is there an update on that and hooking up water or sewer? Or
yeah, good question. Well, Paul left, but Christina can answer that. I just had my ops meeting with Paul today, and I did get updated, but Christina knows it better than I do. So.
Thank you, Council. Purposes of the record, Christina Nelson Gross, City Attorney. Yeah, I've been in contact with the Department of Energy's attorney in this matter, and they are looking at narrowing the scope of what it is that they would be asking to do. So originally it was water and sewer. Now they're looking at annexation, and now they are looking at postponing the annexation piece and the sewer component for a variety of reasons on their end, probably some reasons on our end as well. And I had a follow-up meeting with the attorney today, and we're developing an agenda for internal staff conversations. Well, I shouldn't say internal staff conversations. I should say staff conversations with the Department of Energy folks to figure out where the sticky points are, because one of the concerns that Public Works has is if you reduce the amount of water that they're going to use, then in these long lines, that there's going to be some concern about compromising water quality. And so I won't profess to be an expert on that, but I see Pete smiling, so I feel like I've used the right words. So anyway, so some things like that. Some of it was the nature of the type of the contract and some other things like that. But we are diligently working with them, and the attorney and we plan to set up, regularly scheduled meetings. The exact frequency, we don't know what that'll be yet, but we do understand that there will be, there needs to be some form of continuity both on the Department of Energy side and the City of Sequim's side, if nothing else, just for institutional knowledge on both sides to understand how we got where we are, what has been transpired, and all of those sorts of things. So it's still moving.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Is that implied in postponing the sewer hookup that kicks the Forest Road lift station down the road?
I'm going to do probably a very poor impersonation of the Public Works Director's response, but that would be my presumption. Yeah. Yes, is that there needs to be enough flow out there to support it, and I don't know that Public Works can say that they're satisfied with the level that we're seeing at this point.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
And I'll confirm that. Paul mentioned this afternoon in my meeting with him that it's work in progress. It's still on the table based on, what happens to the east end. So that between different HOAs that are out there and some of the development plans, it's planned, but the timing is just to be determined. And I guess what's important to me is the relationship with anybody, 501 or Department of Energy. It's really a good place. Chris and I communicate regularly. P&L oftentimes, as Pete probably also knows, it's a stop and start kind of thing. And so now they're back at the table, and which is great. And we're always ready to move if they are. So I do appreciate the congenial, collaborative effort that we get along with them really well, and we'll support what's needed there.
Yeah, this has been going on for 25 years.
Yeah. I've been here 4, and I think we've had hurry up, and then we don't hear, and then as soon as they come back, we're always available, and I don't feel bad. We don't feel bad about that. They've changed people a lot of times, and project coordinators and whatnot. But we're here for them. Yep. Good question.
Any other questions before we move on? All right. Oh,
Any update on the Seal Street Park, not a park thing?
Where's Paul? So I said we had a meeting on this last week or something. It was Christina, Paul, and I. And Mike, I think. So I said, you know what? I'm going to ask you all. So we had a meeting. I said, because council's going to ask about what's the update on that, and I want to beat them to it. So thank you for asking. It wasn't a planted question. So it took a long time to research the background on that. I'm going to get the date wrong, but I think we went back to 1948, 28.
I think it was 1920.
1920. So anyway, we finally found original documents and how it was, whose it was and what it was. We got a right of way for a street. I'll say this wrong too, but anyway, and then it just got the name of a park without an official designation, et cetera, et cetera. So we again spent some time on the whiteboard, spent some time on what the city needs, what Public Works thought was the best thing for use of that, and that's work in progress too. At least we know the current status of it, and it can go various different ways. And I think that's those options are in discussion, but actively and probably somewhat. Not, I wouldn't say quickly, but we're now on top of that and moving it forward. So thank you for asking.
Thanks.
I don't know anything on that other than it was a street named after Mr. Seal. So.
Huh.
You can imagine the problems that would be to have that continue to be a street. So they just decided to close it off because of its safety concerns, so close to the intersections in the middle of a downtown and all that stuff. So they closed it off, and then someone put a bench there, and then they call it a park, and probably can, but we won't make it part of the record.
all right. Now moving on to City Council reports, committee reports. The only one I have is Sister City. We put up a couple fresh displays if you would like to take a chance to go look at them. One of them is more about the Sister City relationship. And then the right side of the display case is all about Children's Day in Japan, which is a holiday that they celebrate. Also in Japanese, Kodomo no Hi, to celebrate children and celebrate the future. And celebrate health and wellness of kids. And it's a holiday that I think is really cool to acknowledge and celebrate. So display was one of the things I wanted to mention. Also, the education subcommittee of the Sister City Association is now getting together to start planning the Sequim to Shiso trip. Tentatively, don't quote me because it's still, trying to solidify plans, right? But tentatively June, July 2027. Hoping that timeline works out. So we're working with the school district to figure out, how to pick student ambassadors, how to interview them, what kind of commitments we need to make sure that their schedule is open for, all that fun stuff. So yeah, we're starting that process and it's really exciting because I don't think we had an exchange trip since 2018. So here we are almost 10 years later and finally getting back at it. And it's been a process. So, all right, that's it for me. Any other committee reports?
So I brought my notes finally from the homelessness task force. Just real brief. The main presentation was Joe DeScala with 4PA. And I'd heard about this, but I didn't know the scope. I hadn't seen a presentation before. They have one of the aspects of what they do besides cleanups is they have this Touchstone campus project. At completion in the next couple of years, there will be 11 transitional housing shelters and 24/7 restroom / kitchen / laundry / shower facilities in a common area. Currently, they have 2 occupied. They started by pouring all 11 foundation pads at once just for cost effectiveness, and then are building these as they have the funds to do so. Then eventually they plan to have a retail or manufacturing building that they're renovating a current building where the occupants can be manufacturing or selling merchandise, selling things to help transition them into a job. They have OPCC partners for outreach and helping to vet and select the occupants. There's no drugs or alcohol allowed. They also have a building there that keeps all their cleaning equipment for when they go and they do encampment cleanups. So the target is to have the occupants transitioning back out of this housing after a year. So this is different from Serenity House because, and then the other notable thing was there were several bits of public comment where there's concerns that the unhoused don't necessarily want to stay at Serenity House if they're trying to get clean. So this will be an option for people who want to be sober and working through this transitionary period into life skills and job skills and be able to get on their own in a year. So I thought it was really fascinating. Mm-hmm.
I attended the Clallam County Board of Health meeting. They had another case of measles in King County, which they contained pretty quick, but Utah, Texas, and Louisiana are still going up with cases. And the flu season's pretty much gone, or it's going away in Clallam County right now, and Jefferson County. So that's about all they had.
All right. Any other reports? Not seeing any. So we will move on to open council discussion. Is there anything for open council discussion? Harmony.
Good evening, fellow councilors. I received an email from Deanna Dawson, the CEO of the Association of Washington Cities. She sent it to both me and Drew Schwab from Port Angeles. And her message reads, I'm hoping that you can help recruit a team of leaders from your region to participate in the next WASELI, or Washington Collaborative Elected Leaders Institute, for the 3rd cohort. The deadline for application is this week, and we really hope to have a team from your area participating again this year. So this is an open call to fellow counselors, if you're interested, I brought the workbook, and at the end of this meeting, if you want to check it out, can look and see what the Collaborative Elected Leaders Institute is all about. It was a very, very enlightening experience about what public engagement processes look like in from an academic sense, from a case study sense, and then working through what it would look like to put together a project and bring that to fruition. And there's so many amazing tools and strategies, and the importance of collaborative discussion and different ways to just better communication skills. So kind of really high level communication training. So if you're interested in doing that and you have an idea about a regional project that you'd like to collaborate on with a Port Angeles or Port Townsend or Forks counselor, then it would be really great to represent the city in the third cohort of Waseli. So that's what I have to report. Thank you, Deanna, for sending that email. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you. Anything else for open council discussion? Going once.
Also, I wanted to just update that I looked at my schedule and other things going on for me in the month of June. I am not going to be able to attend the AWC annual conference. So just wanted to put that out there. If other counselors are feeling called to represent the city in Spokane this summer, it's that would be this would be the time to really move forward on getting hotels and all that other stuff organized. So that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Harmony. And yeah, if you're able to, the sooner the better, so that Heather or Shannon is able to register you, but also book your hotel and figure out travel plans to get there. I am not able to attend, unfortunately, but if you are able to attend, that would be lovely. I would definitely recommend reaching out to City Clerk's office, reach out to Heather, and see if we can get you all situated for that.
You have the dates off the top of your head?
Yes, it's in June. Just a second. And it's in Spokane. So I highly recommend planning yourself one full day of travel on either side, because it's a long drive. Yes. So you'd want to drive out on the 22nd of June, which is a Monday. The conference ends on Friday the 26th, and then plan Saturday the 27th as another travel day. Or, I mean, the conference would probably get out like lunchtime on the 26th. So if you want to do a 10-hour drive starting at, 1 o'clock or something.
And the 22nd it would be a council meeting. So if you're able to remote dial in, that would be fabulous.
Yes.
You do go.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's why you do the 22nd as your travel day. So then you just tune in from the hotel when you get to Spokane. And I'm sorry, 10 hours was me. It's not actually 10 hours to drive to Spokane. It felt like 10 hours, people. It really did. I had to bring an audiobook. The annual conference was excellent, though. The last time I went, the continuing education is incredible. The keynote speaker that they had was amazing, very inspirational. They bring someone in to do an economic update for the whole state. There's you participate in the parliamentary processes of the AWC and help vote in new board members, and the networking is excellent. And a lot of folks from both of our neighboring cities go. There was like 3 or 4 from PT and 3 or 4 from PA. So you're not going to be alone. And the Olympic Peninsula counselors are always so just wonderful people to get to know and network with. So that's all I'm going to say about annual conference. I wish I could go, but it's just not going to work out for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anything else? Going once, going twice. Alrighty. Moving on to the planning portion of our agenda. So we have Wednesday, May 6th, 9 a.m. agenda planning. Reach out if you would like to go. I will be there. Pete will not be there. Good opportunity to jump in. I imagine Nicole will be there. Excellent. So we have
What day is it again?
Wednesday, May 6th at 9 a.m.
Maybe.
Okay. Let us know if you're able to make it. And then next up, the council retreat. Monday, May 11th, 4 p.m. in council chambers. Give you a second to put that on. 4 p.m. I am not getting up at 4 a.m. All right. Yeah, bright and early. Absolutely not. 4 p.m. And then our regular city council meeting will be that same night, Monday, May 11th, 6 p.m.
Mayor, do you anticipate the retreat being 1 hour in duration or hour and a half? Or
I anticipate the goal is to have it finished in 1 hour and 45 minutes. So I might be a stickler about staying on course and not going on tangents, keeping everyone to the agenda.
Oh, that's
I will
great.
be a stickler.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much. We will see you next time. It is 7:12. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second. Excellent. Any opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned by unanimous consent. Thank you.